Amazon's battle with Hachette and the authors that Hachette publishes is heating up. Welcome to Digits. I'm Simon Constable. To discuss this matter further, we have Technalysis Research founder and chief analyst Bob O'Donnell joining us now. Bob, thanks for being there.
Sure, Simon. Happy to be here.
Now, this is a battle royale to the extent that Amazon has cut off the sales of books from Hachette, and some of those authors and other authors are very upset about this. Are you surprised how long it's taken for it to reach this level?
Well, yes and no. I mean, if we look at this, Amazon has actually had other challenges with publishers in the past, some smaller book publishers, even some movie houses in terms of distribution. Amazon's in an interesting predicament because they are such an enormous force in terms of distribution. I mean, if you look at the ebook sales of a lot of these publishers, half or more comes from Amazon. So they represent an enormous portion of this. So it's a classic battle of, some say David Goliath. I think it's really more Goliath versus Goliath, but two companies battling over, who gets the best terms fundamentally, with authors and mostly stuck in the middle and consumers kind of a little bit off to the side.
Yeah, let's talk about the authors now. The authors are branching out themselves and fighting back a bit. I'm going to read this. So we feel strongly that no bookseller should block the sale of books or otherwise prevent or discourage customers from ordering or receiving the books they want. It's not right for Amazon to single out a group of authors who are not involved in the dispute for selective retaliation. That is various authors, not just Hachette authors. Bob, what is stopping these, if these big publishing companies and the authors don't like what Amazon is doing, what is stopping them saying, okay, you want to buy Hachette books, you got to come to another website, buy it direct from Hachette, or set up a United Authors site? Remember United Artists for Hollywood? They all got together to fight the studio system. Maybe that's what's needed. What do you think?
Well, it's certainly a possibility, but distribution these days is a very difficult, very expensive business, as Amazon has proved. I mean, Amazon is essentially the ultimate distribution mechanism for a company, for everything. And the fact that they started out with books makes this particularly interesting, shall we say. I mean, the funny thing is here, ultimately, I think we'll see a book written about this whole process. It's such a drama that we have going on. We've got these two big sides battling with each other. And, the publishers are fighting for the royalties that they think they should get. And of course, the authors are going to be partially on their side. And then you've got other independent authors saying, hey, we don't like big publishers anyway. We're happy with Amazon. And then Amazon's just saying, hey, we've got to get to lower price points because that's what people expect in a modern economy, in this cloud-based economy. And so you've got all these various battles coming together. And you can buy Hachette books at other places. And certainly, I think you're going to find certain authors who make their stuff available from other places. But again, you can't ignore the fact that Amazon represents a huge part of their business, and that's why it's a big deal.
Now, there are some very high-profile authors involved in this. Now, I just want to come back onto what you were talking about with distribution. Look, distribution might be done very well by Amazon, but we still have the U.S. Postal Service, which, as far as I'm concerned, is fantastic. And it doesn't take much effort to put a book in an envelope and put it in the mail and let them deal with it. So the distribution network is maybe, okay, not as vital as perhaps, it could have been without the U.S. Postal Service.
Fair enough. But what it's really about, when I meant distribution, I should have made a bigger picture story here. It's really about discovery and distribution. I mean, ultimately, Amazon is the means through which you discover this content. And that's why it's really important. Think about it. Here's another analogy. Think about app stores, right? There's 1 million apps that are available on these app stores, say the Apple iOS App Store. But it's all about where you get placed and how you get placed that becomes determining whether you're successful or not. In somewhat similar way, if you're with a big publisher, you get extra push, extra advertising, you get included in the special deals. Those are the things that are important. That's why working with a big publisher for some authors is still very important. That's why smaller authors, hey, you can write your own stuff. My sister-in-law writes romance novels and she self-publishes, but she's not going to be rich doing it because it's a very difficult business and it's all about, getting yourself out in front of people. And that becomes the challenge.
I know it's a very important challenge, and I guess the authors from Hachette are now getting no love from Amazon on the site, so that's a bit of a problem. To continue with this though, do you think that we've got here also a battle between an industry, on the one hand the tech industry, which is really changing the way we do things in large part for the better, and an industry which has really fought tooth and nail to continue doing things the same way they did 200, 300, 400 years ago?
Absolutely. I mean, clearly the book business is a very conservative business, and there is a set way of doing things exactly as you described. And this is representing a big challenge. And everybody saw what happened with the music business, and a lot of people are very nervous about that. And so they're very concerned. And, you know, books are theoretically in a more rarefied zone. And therefore, some people think that they're immune to the changes that are happening, but clearly they're not. And so I think ultimately, when we look back on this, we're going to say this is one of those important milestones in the development and the evolution of the book publishing business.
Well, we will see how it works out. Thank you very much. Great insights there. Really appreciate them. Technalysis Research Founder and Chief Analyst Bob O'Donnell.
Thanks, Simon.
I'm Simon Constable. That's it.